Hey guys, welcome to Tyson's Fitness Tips Podcast. If you want to lose weight, increase your energy, improve your health and fitness, and look your best, then you have come to the right place. My name is Tyson Brown. I'm a personal trainer, and my job is to help you transform your body by sharing with you the most up-to-date information on health and fitness. I'm going to distill it all down for you into bite-sized actionable steps that you can take immediately to see results quickly. Now, every Tuesday and Thursday, you can expect a brand new episode, which will be a mixture of interviews with top experts from around the world in the fitness space, and as well as solo episodes from myself, sharing with you exactly what action steps you need to take to transform your health, your body, and your life. Also, don't forget to listen all the way to the end of the show, because in the middle, I'm going to share with you a time-saving tip, and it might just be a game changer. I know you're short on time, and this one can save you a lot of time and a lot of energy. So, let's get into the show. What's going on, guys? It is Tyson Brown here, and you know what time it is. It is time for another episode of Tyson's Fitness Tips Podcast. And today, I'm bringing back Mr. Mega Marty himself. He is the first guest to return because we got such positive feedback from the first episode. And you know what? We just had to do it again. So, Marty, welcome back to the show. I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks for inviting me back. Yeah, I couldn't believe the response from the last one, man. We kind of got some people cleaning up their supplement cabinets for sure. It was very positive feedback. I'm super happy to be back again.
Yeah, awesome. Like, that was the thing, it's not that we said all supplements are bad, but, when at the end of the day, if you can save yourself $150 like someone told you they did, how much better quality is that going to be? They can put it towards their sleep, they can put it towards wherever they want it to go, or they can just have some extra spending cash to enjoy themselves, right?
Yeah, it's just exactly that. Like, we won't go too far into it because, check out the podcast. But it's just the misinformation out there was what got me initially, for sure. It was like I was told this and this, or that the dosing was under on this and that. So just not. It's really good that there's even at least one. I know there's other podcasts too, but we hammered through so much of it. Said don't do this because of this, and it's one of those things that the more information you know, then the better you can spend your money on stuff that works, like actual coaching or actual resources, or just not even taking something that could potentially alter your body in the wrong way per se. Because one of the examples I know is peppermint oil. I love peppermint oil. I should have said that one last time. It's like a nuclear bomb for all your bacteria in your stomach, which is great to kind of reset things. But if you keep taking that, now all the good and bad bacteria are gone. So it's just there's misinformation about how long to take things, or let alone when to take things. Like the people don't know that vitamins A, D, E, K are all fat soluble. In other words, you need fat to take them. And if you just take them, let's say, with water, then they're not going to get the absorption. So there's just stuff like that I really wish that there was more information about out there. And so, yeah, I think we nailed it, man. Good work.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's funny because we can go down so many different types of, different paths. And, well, first of all, you guys should go back and listen to the other podcasts, which will be in the episodes. But
absolutely.
What are we going to talk about today, Marty? Because, you and I were asking, they loved episode 1. Let's get on to that episode. But we couldn't really think about what we wanted to talk about. However, we did come up with something. And what are we going to be talking about?
Oh, this is one of the things that I absolutely love talking about. I think it's out there a bit too much. I think there's more confusion about it than supplements. It's plateaus. Am I at them? And what do I do to get past them?
Yeah. A lot of people have come to me and said, hey, I'm not seeing the results I want, or I don't feel like it's moving. Or even people say, I've lost this amount of weight, and now I feel like a plateau. And I'm like, oh, have you stopped? Have you actually stopped losing weight? They're like, no. And so I don't actually think people realize what a plateau is either.
Absolutely. And that's you know what, let's start out with there. I would define a plateau, if we're talking about physical fitness, let's say either getting stronger, getting faster, losing body fat, physique alteration. The definition of a plateau would be when you are doing everything that or consistently and results have stopped. Not weight, not strength, results have stopped or have come to, like, I want to say come to a slower pace, but no, that's still not a plateau. And so I'll start out first by calling something of the law of diminishing returns. And this is what happens, especially to those of us that, let's say you are 250 pounds as a female, you're 350 pounds as a male, and you're losing the 2 to 3 to 4 pounds a week. You're doing awesome. And then you slow down to, we'll say 1 to 2 pounds a week, or even half a pound or 1 pound a week. And then all I'm mentioning right now is weight. So, because that will work when you are very heavy or overweight, that will work. That's a great gauge. But then that will slow down. And so then now that's the law of diminishing returns, means you're going to have to work a heck of a lot harder to see the same results that you saw initially. Mm-hmm. So that in itself can cause people to think that they're at a plateau when it's just really you now aren't seeing as big of a numbers as drops, because it's just the best analogy I have of that is like a roll of paper towel. Is that if you take off 4 sheets of paper towel at the beginning, the paper towel roll still looks pretty friggin' big, but you keep taking off 4 sheets. And holy crap, it starts shrinking, and then eventually you only can take off 2 sheets because you don't have many sheets left. But and then when it gets down to the bottom, 1 sheet is almost 2 full revolutions, whereas before 1 sheet was not even a quarter of a revolution. So that's something to keep in mind too. It's something called the law of diminishing returns. And remember Marty and Tyson talking about paper towels, and you'll kind of get it from there.
That's a good point. And I like how you define what a plateau is. Like, it's that stand still, nothing is going to be moving from there. It's not that, I was losing 5 pounds a week and now I'm losing 2 pounds a week, because you are still making progress, and that is not what a plateau is.
No, absolutely. And then this is why I feel that coaching to at least some degree, or till you quote unquote get there, is so imperative, because I know for a fact that I am the worst judge of myself in terms of I look at the mirror or I look at any of kind of my other markers that I like to assess my clients and myself with, and I won't see it quite the way that someone else will. So I will, whenever I do a competition, or if I'm looking to do something like a photo shoot, I'll enlist another coach, because even having that second set of eyes can show you if you're at a plateau or not. Because historically, when I was younger, I would slash calories, I would up cardio, I would do something when just things had been slowed down. So, but then if I I try to expedite them with something, let's say I jack cardio by 30 minutes a session, I'm already doing five sessions a week. So now I'm going for 30 minutes to an hour, and then it's too fast, I burn out. And then you want to talk about a plateau, let's say I go reverse, because then I get burnt out. I don't effort the same. I don't give the diet effort the same, and no, that's even worse than a plateau.
Absolutely. And it's
not
just,
trying to. Go ahead.
Sorry, I think you cut out
no,
there.
go ahead,
Replay. I'm having a mind blank. Repeat that last bit. You just actually cut out, so I thought you stopped talking.
Which from where?
So you were saying you would start to go back. In the worst case scenario, you actually start to go backwards.
Even though I know kind of what I'm talking about, I won't see the same thing as someone else. So I will think I've hit a plateau already, when then I'll do something silly, like I'll either cut my carbs, or let's say I'm doing 5 cardio sessions a week at 30 minutes. I'll bump them up to 60 minutes. So add in an extra 2.5 hours a week. And then before you know it, my plateau hits harder, because I'm burning out. And that's one of the worst case scenarios to be in, because let's say I go backwards, because now potentially I go off on my diet. I don't train as hard due to the too much cardio, which is dipping into everything. And I'm not here to say that slow and steady is always the super good way, in terms of like you don't necessarily need to go at, they call it turtle pace, but you be able to push it. You're not going to be the absolute best unless you are centered not only in the mind, but centered in, we'll call it the emotions too, because I know for a fact that I have woken up and I've looked in the mirror after a bad day and I've seen something that wasn't there. And I know numerous of my clients have done the same thing, where they are like, oh man, like just work was hard yesterday, fight with the boyfriend, girlfriend, something like that, and then they just see something that isn't there, and then that's one of the other many cases you can say, oh God, I hit a plateau.
Oh man, don't even get started about. I think the mindset is one of the most biggest things that, like you said, you have a bad day or something goes wrong, and you could wake up feeling great one day. You look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, yeah, and the next day it's just a complete opposite. So having somebody there who can objectively look at your body and tell you, whether you actually hit a plateau or not is the most important thing, I think.
And Tyson, I've had put it on in an app or something like that where I've taken someone's side-by-side photo where they've said that they've lost progress or they've come to a plateau or they went backwards in a week, and I've whipped out like the red pen and circled a couple areas. Let's say it's their love handles or let's say at their thighs, and I've circled and I say, do you see what I'm seeing here? And sometimes they will genuinely say, no, I don't, when to me it's pretty friggin' clear that they've made progress, or sometimes they go, oh, okay, you know what, you're right, it was a bad day, but that's how much you say mindset. I'll take it even further, and this is something that I've been saying for quite a bit the last 6 months, is the heart set or the emotions, because you can have a great mindset, but if your emotions are off and left, let's say, cat's in the hospital, something like that, and you're just not there, the heart's affecting the mind, you will warp what you see in the physical mirror, and that's one of the worst case scenarios, because then you'll either think you can try to diet or train your way to, we'll say, getting rid of the emotional or mental stress or something like that, when that's actually the time that staying the course would probably be the best idea, because trying to push it when you're not in the right mind frame or not in the right heart frame can lead to even more, like we'll say, a plateau or going backwards, like we said. Absolutely.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about then, what isn't a plateau, like, slowing progress isn't. What when you decide, okay, you've actually plateaued, what does that mean? Does that mean like you haven't lost weight in a week, or you haven't lost weight in a couple?
Wonderful question.
Yeah.
Wonderful question. So to hit an actual plateau is when you are, we'll use it anyways. We'll say weight stagnant, because weight to me is such, by itself, weight is not only the biggest liar, but it's such a crap gauge. So I will tell you guys and girls exactly what I like to ask my clients. What potentially had an effect on your weight when you checked in? Because I did an experiment on myself, Tyson, is that I usually go to bed around 10 at night. So I weighed myself at 10, and I purposely set an hour alarm from 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, all the way on up, and woke up purposely to weigh myself and go back to bed. I lost I did it for, I think, 2 random nights, and it was in between 0.5 and 1 pound, or which I don't know, because you guys are in kilograms, be something around this. Anyways, but I lost, it was almost correlated to a pound an hour. So if you are waking up 3 hours early, if you're a male, you could potentially be 3 pounds up. Does that mean you gained 3 pounds of fat? Of course not. So sleep, let alone quality of sleep. Did you train before bed this time? Did you eat a majority of your food before bed? Did you switch carbs before bed? How about water consumption? How about salt consumption? If you want to go off of weight, you have got to know all that stuff, because it's the most. And then, of course, women, where are you at on your menstrual cycle? Because any of that stuff will come, and I've had that happen so many times where they'll Marty, my weight's up. Like, how long did you sleep? Oh, a little bit worse, and blah blah blah. Or I'm like, okay, then that's not your weight. That is what the weight was at that time. That's not your dry AM typical weight. So even then, let's say your weight is similar. Let's say your strength has been similar. Let's say your measurements are similar. Let's say your pictures are similar. So your nutrition 80%, 85%, or let's just say this, it hasn't been way too far off. Everything is similar, and I would always like to say that it has to be like that for 2 weeks minimum.
Great.
Because doing it from week to week, if you alter a plan every friggin' week, I think you got a pretty damn bad plan. It's because it shouldn't work for a week and then that's it. So and that's that kind of dives perfectly into when do people think they're at a plateau when they're really not, right? So that they will see one of these factors and that's it. They will see that now their strength didn't go up, or that their strength went down. Okay, cool. What happened to your weight? Okay, cool. What happened to your measurements? Okay, cool. So that it's too much to ignore, and that's why I'm calling it the actual plateau, right? Because with first, even if you were to get rid of weight, which is going to be, we'll say, the lifelong quest for both male or female, I have not found a discrepancy between the two. Everyone likes to think that it's one way or the other. No, men and women are very equal in terms of what happens to their weight, or they weigh weight too heavily. Let's put it that way. So if you have pictures, that's fantastic. Give yourself as much information as viably possible so that you can see if you're actually at a plateau. So let's going over some of those again. If you are going to have pictures, please have it be in the same bikini or the same pair of shorts and the same light, the same camera, the same time of day, the same spot, the same everything. Because lighting can make such a huge difference, especially if you're fasted versus non-fasted. If you woke up, like I said, after the 5 hours versus the 8 hours, everything the same for the pictures. Now, measurements, I'm kind of indifferent on because I like them for when you start out, when you're overweight, for sure, because then everything is going to be shrinking. However, I remember I got a client, Shelly, about 5 years ago. It was so vivid because her weight was exactly the same. Her strength was going up, and she was so perturbed about the weight staying the same, and she was borderline wanting to cancel. We were a month in, and said, Marty, this is not going well for me. I don't like. I said, how are your clothes fitting? And she said the same. And I said, oh, okay. So we did measurements, and the waist had lost, of course, but then the arms were the same and the shoulders were the same, but yet the strength had gone up. So what did that mean? The measurements, so that exactly the composition of the shoulders and the composition of the arms had changed. So measurements are cool only if it's A, it's the same person doing them, and B, it's the same time. Again, you're not obviously you're not taking your measurements just after you pumped up arms at the gym type of thing, but that will tell you the photo there too, and that blew her mind. And at the time, I had calipers. So I measure, and calipers are good if you have a good pair of them and you know how to do them. And I would do just the 4-point test. I didn't bother doing the legs. I did the stomach, the right below the scapula, and then the front of the arm and the back of the arm. So and that was the coolest part, was that her arms were the exact same, but yet the body fat pinch on both the front and the back of the arm were smaller. So therefore, she literally did lose fat and gain muscle on the arm, and that's why it's so that, again, was she at a plateau? Absolutely not. The weight was lying to her, the measurements were lying to her, but everything else was still going. So she was not at a plateau. What did we do? We stayed the course. And here's even more part to that. So what happened? Then the weight started dropping, because then the strength was there, the calories started burning were there, and so when you're on the same meal plan and eating it well, that's what will happen. How many times have you had someone get their meal plan and either they're full or they're borderline stuffed, and then 1 week in, 2 weeks in, then they start getting hungry? Why? Because now the workouts are getting better, burning more calories. That's not a plateau either. So that those are kind of the things to gauge, to look at. And then I'll also ask, how is your sleep? Like I just said, how is your stress level? What's your emotions like? Because if you're going off of weight and you just had a stressful day, that can skyrocket so high. Cortisol levels elevating are very, very real. How is your digestive system? Are you still having the same amount of bowel movements a day? And then, of course, the strength, is your strength still going up or down there? And then, of course, the biggest one of all, are you eating your frigging meal plan? Because men are fun for this too, because I'm eating well. Okay, send me a food journal. And then, oh man, is it off?
Yeah.
I'm not picking on guys, because girls do it too, but just I'm at a plateau. Okay, and I know we hear the 80-20 rule, 85-15. It's like, yeah, if you want 100% results, it's got to be close to that 90-95. I am a fan, of sometimes using macros and things like that. I am. However, if you're venturing too far outside of that, is that a plateau? No, because you're not eating on frigging plan, and you cannot out cardio, and you cannot out train a crappy plan. Just go try it. You will be at a plateau, or you will be smacking your head against the wall, but the plateau is the fact you're not following the meal plan.
I know exactly what you're saying there, and it's funny, guys, because some things Marty and I obviously differ on. So Marty talked about the way he assesses. One of the things I do is, yes, the scale can be a liar, but what I get my clients to do is, if you want to go off scale weight, weigh yourself at the same time every single morning when you wake up, right? On an empty stomach. If you got to go to the bathroom, but make sure it's a consistent thing every day, because then you can see, oh, my weight, you never gain a kilo in a day, or you never gain a kilo in 2 days. It's that accumulation over time, and you never lose a kilo in a day. So you need to keep sure that if you're measuring yourself every day on the scales, then you can do a running average week by week to see if you're actually stalling, or if you're losing weight, or if you're gaining weight. Because if you just go, oh my God, today I'm 72 kilos, but yesterday I was 70, like Marty said, did you have a salty meal last night? Did you have more carbohydrates? And did you go out for dinner? If you went out for dinner, all those things are going to throw you off. So don't let one day all of a sudden make you think like you've put on weight or you're plateaued. If you're, there's just some daily check-ins you can do. And the same, like I like to say with Marty, when you're doing your photos and measurements, do it at the same time, in the same lighting, in the same place. And I tell people, do it first thing in the morning before you've eaten any food, and just after you've gone to the bathroom, because at least then, you're keeping it consistent, because food is very, very easy to be able to manipulate your body, right? If you have...
absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's why I like to say, if you could do it on a fasted stomach, whether it be weighing yourself, doing your measurements, doing it at the same time, same place, that's what's going to... when you do the consistency, then you're going to be able to assess, or have someone else assess for you, more realistically. You can't say, oh my God, look at my stomach in this photo, when you took it outside on a beach and then the next time was inside with some bad lighting,
Absolutely. Like you couldn't be more true. And then there's the one resounding word that will tell you if you are at an actual plateau or not is consistency.
Yep.
Have you been consistent? If that's a yes, and it's been 2 weeks, I even sometimes try to pull it to 3 weeks. But if you are that consistent, and this could even, and I'm talking about your workouts too. I'm talking about your cardio. Did you miss even a session of cardio or something like that? Because and it's not that you need to be that ridiculous to never ever flub up or whatever, but just recognize that's not a plateau then, because you have to have so many gears in line there too. So now the best thing to do is now the best thing to talk about would be what to do when you've measured everything, you've gotten your brain around it. Okay, I'm at a plateau. What do I do? So this is one of the and this is basically how to coach yourself. All right. And why not? Let's give away some really good free information here. Is don't look in the wrong places, which could be a supplementation. I know that it's super popular over here to either grab rotate a new pre-workout, or to go grab a natural testosterone booster, or to go grab a fat burner or something like that. That stuff, if at all, kind of like we talked about the last episode, if it does help, which it more than likely 100. Okay, let's go with 99.5% won't work, is going to be a placebo effect anyway, which is now going to motivate you more to either push more weight beyond your meal plan, more whatever, so then that begs the question were you at a plateau to begin with in terms of all that stuff? Which, don't discount motivation either. Don't discount your drive. And that's one of the things I forgot to mention there about being consistent is, are you bringing it to the gym? Are you bringing it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you don't necessarily go to failure on every exercise, or go do your intervals, you're falling off the stepper every single time, but just know, are you training hard or training correctly consistently? Because that'll be it too. Because going and switching up something, like if you were doing the stepper and now you're doing the treadmill flat for the same kind of speed and you're not, or slower, that's altering something again. So, having said all that kind of fun stuff, what should you look into changing? And I'm going to say not that much. And that's the craziest thing, is not that much. Because if what you were doing was working, then you making a whopping change is going to throw something way too far out of whack. Look at the example that I gave about adding in 30 minutes of cardio on top of already 30 minutes of cardio. So now effectively doubling my cardio. That could not only push me a little bit too far in the wrong direction in terms of calorie burning, but now let's say my strength starts to take a hit, my mood starts to take a hit, my sleep starts to take a hit, or something along those lines. So then, because that's now no longer going to be pushing me past a plateau, or it could, but it's going to be so short-lived. So something, and I'm not going to give too much of an exact guideline here, but if you are something, let's say you're a guy and you're trying to lose body fat and you're on 2,000 calories, don't take away anything more than maybe 100 to 200 at the maximum. Don't.
Yeah.
And when I say take away, I like to kind of pick as a personal preference for them, whether it usually is going to come predominantly from carbs or predominantly from fats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like to play around with the protein levels that much, because I usually set that off of their lean body mass. That's the way that I was taught. That's the way it's been working for me for the past 10 years. Or then this is a really good transition into something I call the ceiling. So the ceiling is, and any good coach will know this, is you'd have to take a look at your lifestyle in terms of job, in terms of your romantic relationships, in terms of your family relationships, work relationships, platonic relationships, and you have to see where your time is. And so how much free time do you have? So, because let's say ideally you are not having that much food, and I would preferentially up your cardio in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But now you work 12 hours a day. You have to take the kids to hockey, to soccer, and you have to go visit your mom in the hospital. So that's the ceiling. The ceiling is I don't know if you're familiar with the Indiana Jones movies or not, but there's a part of the movie where Indiana Jones pulls a lever and the ceiling starts coming down, and he's going to get squished if he doesn't do something about it. That's literally how your time is kind of structured in terms of time in the gym, time away from the gym. They all kind of go into the ceiling. So if I put more cardio into your program, your ceiling is going to get lower, obviously, depending upon what your job is. Let's say you are part-time lifeguard. You only work 15 hours a week. You've probably got more time to do cardio. So that's when you kind of assess yourself. What times do I have available like that? Or if you're already at full tilt, we've got you at four times a week of 45 minutes for cardio, and that's it. I've got no other more available time. Then we are going to have to look into a nutrition change to get there. Or conversely, if we're looking at gaining weight, and we're trying to add food in or something like that, we potentially could take away some cardio like that too. Or potentially you're doing five times a week of weights. Maybe we need to put it down to 4 times a week, because you're just exerting too much energy and burning too many calories. Again, depending upon that ceiling. Is that okay for you? Because this is going to go into a conversation about what's ideal versus what's optimal versus what can you friggin' do. Because that's what's going to gauge everything. Is if you cannot do something, like let's say Marty says to do every day a week of cardio for an hour, and you can't do that, then not only am I not doing my job, but you're never going to get past that plateau or potentially go backwards.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I bet you see that all the time with people in terms of their work stress and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like you said, people. Let's be realistic here. Like, how much time do you actually have to do something? Like, yeah, I could say, all right, we're going to bump your cardio for another 30 minutes. But if you don't have that 30 minutes there, well, we got to do something else. And what I really like you saying, Marty, is don't try and change everything. Don't go, I'm going to add in more cardio. I'm going to take a fat burner. I'm going to drop my calories, because you're just going to fucking wreak havoc on your body. There are so many people I know who have said, I'm only eating 1,700 calories a day and I'm training so hard. And it's just like, mate, you're doing the opposite. You're burning yourself out. It's time for another episode of Tyson's Time Saving Tips. Now, in this episode, we're talking about plateauing, and saving yourself time is going to be so important. If you're at a plateau and you're just completely out of time, you don't know how to add in any more cardio, try and think about neat little activities you can do during the day to burn more calories. This could be getting off at the train station one stop early. This could be walking to the next bus stop. This could be walking down to get your groceries on the weekend. You might not have time for an additional 10 to 15 minutes of cardio in a row, but 2 to 3 minutes here or there during the day when you're waiting for your coffee, going for a quick walk, all that extra activity adds up, and it's not going to take a lot of time. So if you are short and you need something to be able to increase that amount of calories you're burning, try and find some neat activities you can do, like taking the stairs, like walking around to get your coffee. Anything like that is going to help. That is your time-saving tip of the day. Now let's get back into the episode.
And that's exactly it, is in that, and that's one of the worst things I would say people are a gauge of, is that burnout. So that's why too, when I assess if all of a sudden someone is now, we'll say, a little bit more chronically tired, and they'll say, I don't know, my sleeps are choppy, I'm not really feeling it. Some of my relationships are nothing's really kind of wrong. Just I feel like I'm a downward spiral, and then I kind of look, see how long they've been training, how hard they've been training. This doesn't really happen a lot to beginners, but if the cardio starts creeping up there, the work starts creeping up there in terms of volume, or let's say you have a physical job, that can happen. And so this is a great way to get past the plateau. Take a friggin' week vacation away from the gym, or just a vacation period, because that in itself can not only kickstart but restart your CNS, your central nervous system can take a friggin' break. It will potentially, even if you weren't hating the gym, it will, if anything, it will make you really miss the gym, so that when you're back, you're ready to slug it out again big time. But then it kind of refreshes the tank. Just because you're not training legs right now doesn't mean the legs aren't impaired in their recovery, because you're training chest, training back, whatever. When you are full-time working out, let's say, for years, or you shouldn't work out for years, you should take a break before that, but if you've been going and going and going, there's full recovery of the joints, the ligaments, and then the brain will not happen here and there. And that could be the number one thing that's holding you back, is from that plateau, is the fact you've been doing too much for too long.
Yeah, like, it's just too much stress on the body for a long period of time. And I think just going back to that, I was thinking about what you said before about, don't drop the calories a little bit too much. And, even if you could kind of go, you know what, I'm going to have a week, go back to my maintenance calories, and go take the week off the gym and kind of just relax and chill out. People don't realize how stress can actually hinder your results, right? Stress could be like a sleeve of shit. Hey, go and take the week off. Go and take some time to do some longer walking, do some stretching, get in more sleep, because most people, we know, sleep 5 to 6 hours a night if they're lucky.
Yeah, and a really good way to put that too is I say to people, if they're getting 6 to 7, I always like to recommend 8.5. It's been the most researched, documented amount of time is at 8.5, sometimes 9. But if you are chronically getting 6 to 7, I say, okay, let's say you're doing 7. So that's, we'll just for sake of my example, we'll say that's 1 hour that you're missing, that compared to 8. That is over the course of your week, you're missing out on a full night's sleep, a full 7 hours. And then they go, oh my, they don't look at it that way. And I go, that is one full night every week you are not getting. And then the converse argument is, oh, well, now that's an extra 7 hours a week I'm being productive. I'm like, yeah, but if you were to see the effects of having that 8.5, how much more productive you're in those hours you have versus just that quote unquote extra 7, people would be mind blown. Because if you don't make time for rest, let's put it this way, outside of nutrition, the second biggest hamper on both muscle gain and fat loss is by far sleep. By far. Any single time, I have a gentleman, Stefan, who sleep was junk for years, and we finally got him a CPAP, which is one of the machines to help his breathing. The difference in that guy's fat loss was, when we didn't change anything but that, was monumental. We went from pretty much flat out stalling, because I said, I can't give you less food. You're already sleeping like crap. And so it was literally, we're looking at about a pound a week, and the guy just keeps dropping, and it's all because we fixed his sleep. And that's, I really hope that's a big take-home message here, is get yourself into a sleep routine, get rid of all the blue lights and all the action movies before bed, get yourself into a routine and get that sleep, because you want to bust a plateau. There you go. That'll use Stefan's example, that's just one of hundreds that I've got of that. And I can even tell myself when I'm burning myself out and I'll wake up, I know that to expect any kind of physical or even health-wise progress, it's not going to be there without the sleep. How do you expect your phone to be 100% if you only charge it to 80?
Absolutely right. And I think, guys, if you don't believe us, literally go on Google and look up sleep correlation with obesity, or anything around that nature. You're going to realize how important sleep is. because it's going to affect your mood, it's going to affect your stress, and you might think your diet's on track, but when you're underslept, you're going to be craving more sugary foods, and something might creep in here and there, and you might think, it's just a little bit, but those add up very, very quickly. And for the people that think, I'm more productive when I'm awake, let's think about this. If you're lacking sleep, you're not going to be able to push yourself as hard in the gym because you're not going to have as much energy, right? Which means you're either going to you're not going to burn as much calories or have as much strength, what you could do. So then that potentially is going to be hindering your performance also.
Oh, you nailed it. That's exactly it. Like I won't shut up about sleep. It's the most important. On my assessment, it will say, how long are you sleeping? How quickly are you falling asleep? What's the quality of the sleep? Like I gotta know this. And if people give me something along the lines, my sleep's okay, I'm like, nah, I need way more demographics than that. And once I hear them say, a couple nights for 5, a couple nights for 6, I'm like, and then I give them a say, so you basically missed out on 18 hours of sleep this week. That's over 2 full nights of sleep, and then. Because but growth hormones released much when you're asleep. Your body will finally start recovering the muscles 100% when you're asleep, because everyone will think, if I'm up, I'm burning more calories. I'm like, yeah, but that again, that's going to start dipping into the overdoing it. And like you said, the cravings can start getting out of control on you there, which then starts needing more caffeine, which then starts into this very vicious cycle if you don't get a hold of it, right? For sure.
Yeah. And they say they're burning more calories. Maybe you might, like in that extra hour or two, you might only burn, let's say best case scenario, you burn an extra 200 calories or 300, right? Whatever it is. But if you have those hunger cravings, how easy it is to eat a muffin that's 450 calories. It's just dumped back that anyways.
Yeah, not only that, but then what here too, you'd see. I've not heard a single fitness scam say yet, hey, sleep less, burn more calories.
Yeah.
Because no one's that dumb, and no one's that dumb enough to try to make money off of sleep less, because that's how silly it is, right? And how we can trick ourselves into that productivity thing is beyond me too. So then the next component that I would like to talk about is training. Everyone thinks that they've hit a plateau with their training. So they've and what does that mean, right? To take a look at your program is one thing, right? So then if nutrition, let's say, let's assume that everything else is consistent. You are eating well, you are sleeping well, emotions are doing good, work is good, everything else is fine, and your training is plateauing. And that means when a training is plateauing, that means your intensity is there. You have not budged a weight or a rep in so long. Not saying that strength is the absolute everything, but I'm saying if you the zip is gone, the weight is not moving the same, or the intensity is not there, or even if the weight starts going backwards, now you actually might be at a weight training program plateau. But conversely, thank you, Tony Horton in his P90X. The switch it up phenomenon.
Confuse those muscles, baby.
Confuse those, because obviously a bicep does not know how to bicep, right? So so what bred from that? Let's say that muscle confusion was true. Here's a pro tip: it's not true. The bicep knows how to bicep every time. They don't need to be frigging confused. But even if that were true, and you switched up your workout every week, the best analogy I have for this is, let's say, let's not even use every week. Oh, you know what? Screw it. Let's go every week. You change up your program every week. We'll make it obnoxious. That would be akin to you going to school to learn how to be a carpenter for a week. The next week, you're going in to learn how to be an astronaut. The next week, you're going in to learn how to be a gynecologist. And the next week, you're learning how to become a pro skateboarder. What the heck do you think you're going to remember about being a carpenter when you try to come back to that? And because you only did it for a friggin' week. So not only that, but how do you know that friggin' worked? And people, even if it was 2 weeks of a carpenter, 2 weeks of an astronaut, then all that time, you have no friggin' clue how much better you got at that workout. So and that's what one of my coaches, Scott Abels, has called it ADHD working out, and it's true. And so if you need to really mess around with your workouts, and you need, because I'm bored, or that's actually telling you a lot about something else. But to stick to a program that is something you enjoy, that's one of the best gauges to know if you actually are at a plateau or not. Because if you rotate the workouts all the time, you're going to have different expenditure, you're going to have different weights on the bar, you're going to be learning new exercises potentially if you haven't done them before. So you are going to have no idea what worked. That would be like swapping out your calories in your nutrition plan every week, and then trying to wonder and figure out what the heck worked and what the heck didn't. And that's why I love that you said don't change everything at once. So let's say all those things are good. You've hit a plateau with weight. You had an actual plateau with weight, with your body composition, your photos, everything is good. Then change the training program. Don't change the training program and the cardio and the nutrition. Change the training program. That'll be enough. Because then, once again, what worked? If you change too much, what worked? Because I can't tell you the amount of times where I've done that when I 10, 15 years ago in university, where I would I'd throw out the baby with the bathwater. I would change the workout, down the calories, and up my pre-workout all at once. And then I saw results, but then to try to recreate that at a later time, what was it? Do I even know if the workout was better? Or for instance, let's say I changed the workout and I upped my food, but now the workout goes great. Well, was it the workout or was it the increase in food? Or let's say I changed the workout, my strength goes down because I dropped my calories. Was that the workout or was that the calories? So the less you can do to convolute things, the better. I wrote a blog years ago. I'm just remembering it now. It was called The Variables. It's where I had A, B, C, D, E, F equals G. And if you're trying to solve for G, you would better know the more the variables that you can change into constants. Let's say A was cardio. Now that's the number 5. The B was the meal plan. So that's the number 10. So the more that you can keep that, then you can solve for G. And if not, then you are basically just guessing at what G is or what G could be. If you were trying to solve for that progress, you are just guessing at best. The more things that you rotate and the more things that you don't keep stable.
I think you're absolutely right on that. But so one thing I'm actually going to disagree with you on, though, Marty, is I don't think a lot of people just track their workout in general because.
I'm not saying track their workout. I'm just saying keep the workout consistent in terms of don't ditch the workout. I'm not saying you need to track your strength, but if you know that you are doing, let's say, a plate bench press 135, if you are doing 135 pounds 6 weeks later, you haven't moved weight. That's telling you something.
Yeah, absolutely. But
that's kind of what.
Yeah.
Go ahead there. Go ahead.
But I also just think, just in general, like you said, people jump program hop one to another. But even if you're doing the same program, I don't think people actually, they need to be able to track, right? So you're saying, if you're doing 135 this week and 6 weeks later you're still doing 135, you need to be sure that you're still doing 135 and stuck on it. Because if you're like, you know what, I think I was doing this 6 weeks ago, if you're not writing it down or you're not keeping track of it, you cannot say you've plateaued on a workout routine. And I think it's good that you've touched on it, but I think people think that plateau when then if you're not tracking, you're not going to have any idea whether you're plateauing or not with that.
Here's what I'm going to say about that. Boredom is not a plateau of a workout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that is the worst gauge, is just if you're bored of something, of course you're going to give it less or whatever. And there's lots of different things I have to say about that, but it's not even trying to convince people that you need a proper workout with potential rotation of either rep scheme or something, periodization. Sure, we could go way too far into that, and I don't want to. But if you can't stick with the same style of program for a while, you are convoluting the living crap out of things, and you are going to beat your head against the wall. And I'm almost certain that the people, so for instance, the muscle confusion thing, P90X, I actually think it's a great DVD series if you want to get into fitness and you got nothing to do at home or whatever, or you're brand new or something cool, you can't afford a trainer, whatever, I don't care. But that is not going to work forever, and then you will need something more set in stone, something more specific. You mentioned tracking the training. Yes, of course, it does add a heck of a lot more work sometimes on people's behalf, but even if you got to know, because that's the thing. If you got, let's say, 4 sets of 15, or sorry, 4 sets of 10 to 15, and you did a week and you got 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps. Next week is 12 reps, 12 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps. That's not a plateau. That is 4 more frigging reps you did. And people are like, oh, I'm at a plateau. And so you can add those little 2.5, or I think they're even 1.25 pound plates, or the half a kilogram or whatever. If you half a kilogram over the course of a year, so 52 times half, 25 kilograms on, I want that added to my squat. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, but people don't see is that the little, and this is the whole theme of everything. When I said don't change a lot, is that will add up monumentally. That little tiny increment and change. Because no, you don't need to be jumping a dumbbell every friggin' time to progress. You can jump a couple reps here and there. That's why I don't really give hard rep ranges as in 4 sets of 10. I'll say 10 to 15. I'll give you some wiggle room because then what's you mean? Let's say you just hit 10. Does that mean you go down and wait to try to hit 10? Let's say if you get to 10, it's too easy. Do you stop? So that's kind of how I do things. But then I'll say a quote from Eric Helms. When I saw him in person, this kind of changed everything for me. And I love saying, he said, you don't have to change a lot to change a lot. And boy, is that true.
So true. Like, keep it basic. One thing, and it's funny because don't go adding extra stuff in there too. Don't go say, you know what, my biceps aren't, I'm plateaued weight training, I'm going to add an extra set of biceps, and for 1 week or 2 weeks, and you change it up again. Same type of thing Marty said. Keep it basic, keep it simple, and just change something small.
So here's the thing about that is I love that you said that, because I've got a pretty famous story that I was told about it. I'll say it quickly, that there was one of my coaches said he gave 15 people the same program, and he said 7 of them were advanced and 8 of them were kind of intermediate or beginners. And he said, go, and I want you to track how long it takes and tell me how hard it was or whatever. The 8 beginners came back within 30 minutes and said, here you go. And it was easy. They were done. The 7 advanced people, an hour and a half later, came back and said, I can't finish this. This is too hard. So we can only program the work. You have to work the program. And so every single time, and I mean every single time, that I know how long a workout takes, because I usually have either done the workouts that I have, or I've given them to some of my girls to test it out, that I know how to bring it in the gym, and they'll say, Marty, this took me this long. We need to shave some off. Okay, cool. And if they come back within 20 to 30 minutes or on the assessments, they say, yeah, this was too easy, I immediately will start questioning their intensity to it. But then, it's I don't know how to say it to you other than that. Then you do not need to change the program. Then you need to kind of start working with it a heck of a lot better. And that's one of the harder things to teach, is intensity, because if you and again, like I said, you're not going to be able to have 100% workouts all the time where you're so fired up and you hit personal bests and everything like that every single workout. But just because you had 1 or 2 bad workouts in a sense, or not maximal workouts, that doesn't mean you need to change the workouts, right? It's too quickly, and for that extra stuff at the end, the junk volume. Let's say that you hired myself or Tyson, and we built you a program based upon the feedback that you gave us in terms of your questionnaire, whatever, and then you say, yeah, I was done, so I added in 3 extra sets of curls, some abs, and this. That tells me even more about where you're at for the program, because it either, let's just go out on a limb and say that you didn't tell me exactly where you're at from a level, and you are you were being modest. You said you were a beginner, but you're really intermediate to advanced. That doesn't happen often, but let's say that was there. Okay, cool. Or I'll get them to video some of their sets or something like that. But why on earth would you hire a professional only to add stuff in? That blows my mind. That's what's called junk volume. If you can't bring it for those specific select exercises that Tyson or I give you, and you feel the need to do more, that is something you talk about. But also, I'm kind of a little bit tyrannical here when I'll say, please don't do anything extra. Talk to me about it first. Don't go in there and do the workout and then feel like you need to add other things in and then do them. It's one of those that you talk about it. Say, Marty, I think this is too damn easy, and we go, okay, and we reassess that. But it's like that's like someone saying, yeah, you know what, I felt a little bit too hungry, so I ate an extra 2 meals today. Yeah, it's like, did you not think you were going to be hungry? And I had another blog I wrote a long time ago called "What Did You Expect?" And it is, there's I'm hungry on this. I'm never full. I'm not starving, but just like, can I eat more? And it's like, well, how did you think losing fat worked? Do you think that you will be satiated and full? And so, and that's again, you can run into hunger issues with a plateau. Let's say, for instance, you're no longer hungry, or then you are hungry when you're trying to gain weight, that's an indicator that maybe you do need to change something. So yeah, it's just, there's lots of little tips in here about like what we've both seen here over the years in terms of if you're at a plateau or not, and when to change and what not to change. Especially the what not to change, I think, is more important than the when to change.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Marty. And like, if people just go back and they just listen to this and they need some, like, if we were to sum up this whole type of thing to say, okay, here is what you need to focus on first, I think each of us giving a take on it would be really, really good. So how about you start off with what you think? If you could say, okay, how you know you're at a plateau, what to do when you're at a plateau, what you would suggest doing first, 3 things, what would you say?
3 things about what? Sorry, about how if they are at a plateau?
Yeah, let's just sum it all up and like let's each give 3 key points. So for you, discovering, let's say, if you know you're at a plateau, what you would recommend doing first.
Yep.
And we'll go from there.
So if you're at a plateau, you're at an actual plateau, and you're looking to change something, I would always look into your nutrition or your cardio first, depending upon the length of your program. Make it be a minor adjustment, and then stick out that adjustment for at least 2 weeks. That would be my first biggest tip. Like kind of said, the male thing, if you're 2,000 calories, try 100 to 200 less maximum. Or if you're doing cardio, maybe, and you're, let's say, add in 30 to an hour total, maximum an hour total per week. Don't even 30 minutes. Let's say if you're doing 3 times a week of 30 minutes of cardio, make it 3 times a week of 40 minutes of cardio, or maybe add in a 4th session of 30 minutes of cardio. It doesn't need to be a lot, and then just pay attention, and again, be consistent.
Cool. I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I would first say, guys, to honestly know if you're at a plateau, you need to be tracking, okay? First of all, you need to have the photos. You need to have the weights. You need to know, like, the more numbers you have, the better you're going to know. Number 2 is that I would always try and increase activity levels first, because I like eating food, and I'm sure a lot of you do like eating food, and we don't want to keep dropping you down, because eventually you're not going to have anywhere to go. A lot of people on these 1,200 calorie diets don't realize their resting metabolic rate is higher than 1,200 calories. So before we start dropping down your calories and making you more hungry, try and increase the cardio a little bit. Even if it's waking up, and like Marty said, if you can't do 40 minutes of cardio, what if you wake up another 5 minutes early? What if you get off at the train station just before? Whatever you can do to add in that little bit of extra walking around activity whenever you can. If that gets stuck, then start dropping the calories. And last of all, I would say, if you really feel like you're struggling, you're at a plateau and you don't know what's going on, just take the week off and go and enjoy yourself. Don't go and pig out and go crazy, but take the week off, rest, focus more on your sleep, and you're probably going to see the numbers drop when you come back and you feel well rested and well better.
So I will say, too, to add to that, one of the things I've been doing, especially for the general population, not for my contest prep clients, is give them 8 weeks. And I mean 8 weeks at a deficit, and they say, hey, after the 8 weeks, we're going to give you at least a week of maintenance, because everyone, this helps out with adherence like crazy, because after the 8 weeks, you say, hey, we're going to give you either not necessarily a cheat meal, but we're going to give you a week back at maintenance, because anyone can make it through 8 weeks. But if someone embarks upon a fat loss and we say they've got, let's say, even if they've got lots of fat to go, even knowing that they can just muscle through 8 weeks, go, yeah, then we'll do something a little bit different. Cool, they can do it, because let's say if you have lots and lots to go, and let's say it's a year more that you're going to be in a fat loss phase, those periodic breaks can save you mentally and save you not wanting to give up on yourself.
Absolutely. And I think one more thing, if you guys have just started on your journey, don't let it go. Don't wait 2 weeks from now and go, it hasn't worked, because you've at least got to give something a month before you decide anything else. So if you've just started, you're not going to be at a plateau.
And yeah, exactly. It's just, you got to give it that time, especially if it's came from a coach, right? I will always say, if you are brand new to the gym or just in even doing it, and I just say, I don't do it for myself, is hire a coach, just get out there, spend a little bit, so then you have the professionals lay it out for you, for your body, say this is what you should be doing for training, this is what you should be doing for nutrition. If there are any kind of supplements, do it this way. That will expedite your progress, and it'll be beyond worth your money.
I love it. Marty, I think we just absolutely smashed that episode. How you feeling?
I think that was it, man. I love it.
Bloody oath. Now, before you go, remind everyone, where are we going to find you? Where are you at the moment?
Absolutely. You can find me at megamarty.com. You can see me lots on Instagram at megamartycoach. You can also see me on Facebook. It's Marty Macphee, Macphee, and I will be on this podcast hopefully again, time number 3. Who knows?
Well, I got a feeling maybe we could do one in New York in the next couple of months.
You know what? Do it on location, man. Yeah, it'll be really great to meet you.
Yeah, on location, guys. Look up for it. It'll probably be end of April. No, actually, it'll probably be start of May when you see Marty back on here for episode 3. So get excited.
All right. Thanks, Tyson.
No worries, guys. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you next time. Perfect. That was awesome.
Bam, man.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. Now, I've got a special gift for you. If you want to learn how I managed to lose 10 kilos and keep it off, then I've got the perfect treat for you. I've got a free intermittent fasting cheat sheet that I share on my website that shows you exactly how to diet effortlessly with intermittent fasting and fit it into your busy lifestyle. And more importantly, this is the exact guide that I follow every single day that allowed me to lose 10 kilos of body fat and keep it off 4 years later. So head on over to www.tysonbrown.com.au and pick up your free cheat sheet today and learn how to fit intermittent fasting into your life and diet effortlessly. Once again, that's www.tysonbrown.com.au. Opt in for the free cheat sheet and I'm going to send it straight to your inbox for free. Until next time, speak to you guys then.